In today's video, we are going to do the iPhone 11 screen replacement. These are all the items you'll need to fix the iPhone 11 screen. Also a heat gun or a hot plate. It just depends what your company policy is. So go ahead and get these tools. And you also need your layout mat. Alright, before we get started, we are going to ground ourselves, so go ahead and ground yourself. Make sure the metal's touching your skin. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is remove our two pentalobe screws at the bottom, 1 and 2. I don't actually have any, but in your phone you will have some, so get your layout mat and just draw. Oh, my pen is not. Draw your pentalobe screws, and then you can go ahead and remove those two screws at the bottom of your phone. And your pentalobe screws will have the star. It's like a 0.5, I believe. It's like P2 0.5 pentalobe. It's gonna look like a star, and those will be at the bottom. It's 1 and 2. So go ahead and remove those. Alright, so now that you have your pentalobe screws removed and on your layout mat, we're going to show you two different ways to heat this. It just depends on your company policy. So if you have a hot plate, you're going to just turn it on and turn it to like 100. Between 90 and 100 will be okay. And you're just going to lay it flat down, face first, screen down on the hot plate, and give it a second to heat up. It should be hot to touch. Okay, so leave that there. Now, if you don't have a hot plate, you can use a heat gun. So I'm going to be using a heat gun, and you just turn it on high, and you're going to go around the edges. Okay. Just make sure it's hot to touch. Alright, so now that you've got your screen all heated up and you're ready to open, you can use suction cups. And what you do with the suction cups is you just slide your phone into there and make sure it's pushed down, and then you hold it and it should open. Okay? And then you would just take your suction cups off. And then your phone would open. Now, if you have suction cups, you would just come in with your plastic spudger and kind of open it just a little bit. You can go down the side and cut that extra adhesive if it's not coming undone. Now, if you don't have a suction cup or you're not comfortable using a suction cup, we have another way to open it. So if you get your curved pry tool and your plastic pry tool, so you can go ahead and grab those if you don't have a suction cup or not comfortable to use a suction cup. Just depends on your company policy also. So once you've got these two pry openers, you're going to come from the bottom of your phone where you took those two pentalobe screws out, put it in like that. You see, I'm not really deep. I'm going to bend it back. You see how there's a little opening? I'm going to put my spudger, my flat spudger, into there, take this out, put it to the side, and kind of open. Go to the side, open. You see how my thumb right here is going like this? I'm not jamming it in there, anything like that. You don't want to jam. And then you're going to come down the sides, to the side, and move your spudger and just cut that adhesive. What I'm gonna do is grab my spudger and I'm gonna kind of come up here and just work at that adhesive. You see, I'm not very deep. So go ahead and get your screen loosened from that adhesive. Remember, you can pause this video as needed if you're not finished with your adhesive or anything. Alright, so what you want to do is take a peek inside. Okay, so I see a flex cable right there. I'm going to come on this side. There's no flex cables. Okay, so it's going to open just like a book. Now what you're going to do is grab something heavy to put behind it, or grab your thumbs, and the thumbs will hold your phone up, or your screen up to your phone. Now if you look down in here, let's go zoom in just a little bit. Alright, so do you see where my bezel is on my screen? You see how I don't have it laid down like this or flat? You want to keep that lined up with your frame. So we're going to keep that lined up with our frame. You see how it's lined up with my frame? It's just sitting on there, and my hands, my thumbs, are holding it up. So get your phone just like this. Alright, now that you've got your phone just like that, let's go ahead and zoom down in here. Alright, so we're going to find where our battery connector is. You always want to unplug your battery first. So you're going to come to your bottom of your battery. So here's the bottom of my battery. And you see this little cable right here? I'm going to follow it till it stops. You see how it stops right here? Alright, so my flex cable is under here. So this is a shield. It's like a L-shaped shield. And I have 1 screw, 2 screw, and 3 screws. Okay, now if you look down in there on those screws, they're going to be tri-wing or Phillips head. Mine's are Phillips head. So you're going to grab your Phillips head screwdriver, get that ready, and put it to the side. Now I'm going to move my phone over, and we're going to grab our layout mat, so go ahead and do that. So we're going to draw this battery flex cable shield. It's like an L, so it's like this. And it has 1, 2, and 3 screws. So your layout should just look like this. And I don't have any pentalobe screws, so I'm just going to put an X through them. But your pentalobe screws should be in those holes. Alright. Let's zoom back down in here. Okay, now you can go ahead and remove that 1, 2, and 3 screws, okay? And make sure you're placing them on your layout as you take them out. So what I like to do is get my screw on my screwdriver, pinch it, and then lay it on my layout mat. So this was actually a Phillips head screw, and then this one's going to be a tri-wing screw. See how I'm pinching, and then I'm going to put it back. Alright, now that you've got your shield, your screws out of your shield, you can go ahead and remove that shield. Now, I don't want you to put your shields on your layout mat. You're going to put them on your rubber. You see how mine's is on my rubber right here? So I'm just going to lay it on my rubber. You don't want to put any shields on your magnetic. Only screws should go on your magnetic layout mat. Okay, so now we need to find the battery flex cable. I'm going to kind of hold this up because it's like on top of it. Okay, so now remember when we followed this little cable right here, we're gonna actually come in here, get a flat spudger, come to the side, get the edge of your spudger, and just dink. You see that little motion I did right there? Show you one more time. You're gonna come up under there and dink. And then you're gonna grab it and push it back. You don't want to bend this cable right here, you just want to push the flex cable back. So go ahead and get that unplugged. Alright, so now that you have your battery unplugged, we're going to discharge for 15 Mississippis. So go ahead and lay down your screen and mash your power button on the side for 15 Mississippis. Okay, once you're done with that, you can lift up your screen. Let's give you a second to get that discharge. Now, why do we discharge after unplugging the battery? So you want to remove any extra power that's going through the battery. So when you start unplugging like your screen flex cable and your ear speaker flex cable, you don't shock the board. You just want to remove that extra energy going through, the power going through the board. Alright, so now let's move forward. Let's zoom down in here. We are going to unplug these two flex cables and your ear speaker flex cable. Now, these two flex cables are for your screen, and then this one is for your loudspeaker on your screen. Now look down on your shield. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 screws. And those are going to be tri-wing. Okay, so get your tri-wing screwdriver, put it to the side, and grab your layout mat. Missing that screw. Okay, so now that you have your layout mat, we're gonna draw this shield. So it's kind of like a box that has like a big gap in it. And you're gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 screws. So your layout mat should look just like this. Give you a second to get that layout mat situated. Alright, once you're done drawing your layout, now you can grab your tri-wing and remove those 5 screws. Okay, so once your 5 screws are removed, you can go ahead and remove this shield and place it on your rubber mat. So if you look over here, I have my shields on my rubber mat. Remember, you can pause this video as needed. Alright, so now we are going to unplug our loudspeaker flex cable and our 2 screen flex cables. What you're going to do is come from the least you're gonna come from the area with the least irritation you can cause to the board. So let's go right here, get your spudger, get the flat end, get right up under that flex cable and unplug. I'm gonna do the same for that one. Then I'm gonna come from this side and unplug. You should only have 1, 2, and 3 flex cables unplugged, plus your battery. So get those 3 flex cables unplugged. Alright, so now that you have those flex cables unplugged, your screen should come off. Alright, you can move your frame to the side because we're not doing any work in that frame, we're doing screen replacement. Now what I want you to do is grab your new screen, take it out of its package, and lay it next to your screen you just took out of your frame. You should look like this. Alright, so now what do we have to move over? What are we missing on this new screen that's on the old screen? So let's go ahead and zoom down in here. We have our ear speaker, okay? So our ear speaker is right here. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in our ear speaker. So you can go ahead and move your new screen out the way for a second. And let's go ahead and get this ear speaker out. So go ahead and grab your layout mat. And you're going to draw like a phone. You're gonna draw your screen. I'm not an artist, I'm sorry. I don't have the great drawings. Okay, so here's our ear speaker. I'm just gonna draw like a little box. And we have a screw up here. We have a screw down here. We have like a screw right here. And a screw. Let's redraw this. It's like a little lip right there. And a screw right here. So your layout mat should look just like this. Set. Alright. So now let's look inside this screen. Zoom down in here. Alright, so we have 4 screws, correct? Alright, so look at your screw heads. Let me find my spudger. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you look in them, they are tri-wing. So go ahead and grab your tri-wing screwdriver. And you can go ahead and remove those 4 screws. Now my screw is kind of stuck at the top right here, so what I'm gonna do is grab some tweezers and I'm gonna pinch it just a little bit so I can hold it, if y'all can see. Give it some, it's actually not coming out. Okay, there we go. Okie dokie. Now that we have our screws on, I'm gonna give you guys a second. Now on your iPhone 11 screen, it will have like this little shield right here, and what you're gonna do is pop that up. You can grab your spudger and pop it up. Mine doesn't have this. This phone has actually been worked on and somebody has lost our little shield, but what you would do is just pop it up. So go ahead and do that. Now you're asking, how do I get this ear speaker out? So we're gonna actually fold it down. So go ahead and fold your ear speaker down. Now you can use some alcohol. We have like 100%, 99.9% alcohol. You don't want to use like regular store-bought alcohol. You can also use your hot plate or your heat gun. I'm gonna show you what to do with alcohol. But if you wanted to use a hot plate or a heat gun, you would just heat up the front of the phone right here and it'll loosen that adhesive. Now with some alcohol, I like to just dab it right here. I don't like to put the alcohol directly on the screen. So I'm just gonna put some on my layout, my rubber mat, and dab my spudger in there. And I'm just gonna come from the side and push my spudger up under that. May have a little stuck right here. So I'm gonna come to this side and put some alcohol. Alright, so your phone should look like this, and then your loudspeaker should be right next to you. So I'll give you a second to do that. Alright, so now let's talk about this ear speaker. You can move your old screen to the side because we don't need that anymore. We're going to put a new screen in. Oh, I got some alcohol right there. You can use some the heat gun to clear up your alcohol. Or you can use paper towel, whatever you would like. Alright, so here is our loudspeaker. You would have a little shield. I don't have it. I'm sorry about that. So if you want to look at your loudspeaker, we're going to open it. So here's our loudspeaker, okay? And now on this little cable, this flex cable, we're going to have our, let me zoom in here. Alright, so right here is our mic. Remember, gold nuggets are mics. And then on the other side, we have our ambient light and our proximity sensor. So if you want to look right here, we have our ambient light and our proximity sensor, and then we have our mic. Okay, so take a look at that, and then this is our ear speaker, this whole piece right here. Take a look at that. Alright, so now that you have looked at your ear speaker, let's go ahead and grab our new screen. Place those together. And you can move those over and grab your frame. Alright, so if you see in your frame right here, you have like this black sticky stuff. That's gonna be your gasket, your screen adhesive, whatever your company calls it. But we're gonna clean that off, so go ahead and pull that stuff off of there. You can use alcohol, you can use some heat, but I like to use alcohol. Sometimes they just come up. So go ahead and clean that off. And I'll be right back after you guys clean that off. Now if you look here, I have some alcohol on my mat, and I'm kind of dabbing my spudger in, and I'm coming like this, and I'm coming down to scrape that old adhesive off there. You want it to get it as clean as possible so your new adhesive will get in there and stick properly. So there's like a ball of old adhesive. Alright, We will resume when you guys are done cleaning, or when I'm done cleaning my frame from that adhesive. Alright, so now that you guys have your old adhesive taken off your frame, we're going to go ahead and grab our new adhesive, or gasket. Now you always want to put this on when you do a screen, unless it's 6S or older. The 6S or newer have these gaskets, and that's the phones that you'll heat up. So if you see right here how you just lay it on there and it's lined up. So what I like to do is pull this from here. And I'm going to bring you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. Come right here. And you're going to grab your spudger and you're just going to work it along the sides. You want to push that adhesive hard down in there. See, I'm pushing hard down in there. And I'm just going to work on each side just a little bit. Go a little bit at a time. So you go halfway and then we'll work on the top part. Alright, so now that you're halfway, let's go ahead. If you look here, sorry, wrong way. You see how I still have this on? So I'm just gonna work. Now I'm gonna bring my phone down, bring y'all down, and keep pushing that adhesive. Keep working it. And I'm pulling this blue as I'm working. Okay. So go ahead and get that top part. Mine just kind of bent right here. So I'm gonna work on it like this. Come around, work on it. Alright. So go ahead and get that top part. You see how it's all on the edges? That's how you want it. Now, why do we keep this blue part on while we're working? Well, this is sticky. That black stuff is sticky, so you don't want to be getting stuck to your spudger and like, because it won't work right. So that's why I think they have the 2 layers, so you can go ahead and pull that while you're sticking it onto your frame. So go ahead and do that. Now we're going to grab this little blue piece, make sure our adhesive doesn't come up with it. See, my adhesive's coming up with it, so I'm going to push down harder a little bit, and then, okay. See how where that black is? So I'm just going to work. And then I'm going to come over here and work. Just give it more pressure so it stays on, not come up with the blue. Remember, pause the video as needed, okay? Just going too fast or your adhesive's not going on right, just pause and then you can work on it and then come back. Okay. My adhesive is a little messed up here. Alright. So we got our adhesive on. Give you a second to do that. Okay, so now that you have your adhesive off, let's go ahead and put our frame to the side and grab your ear speaker and your new screen. So now we're going to put our ear speaker on our new screen. So what you're going to do is put your ambient light and your mic and your proximity sensor up in there, get it in there. Now if you have that little shield, you can put that on and grab your liquid adhesive or your tape, whatever your company policy is. And I'm going to, mine's is not staying down, but we're going to put just a little bit adhesive on here. So go ahead and do that. Now that you got your adhesive on there, we can go ahead and place it down again. And you can go ahead and put that little shield on up here at the top. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, once you've got that, you can go ahead and fold your screen over. I mean your ear speaker, sorry, I don't know why I said screen. Make sure it's all lined up with your screw holes. And then you can go ahead and grab your tri-wing screwdriver and start putting those 4 screws back in. If you notice, I'm holding my ear speaker down. Get these screws in there. So we got our 4 screws in there for the top. Okay, so once you've got your ear speaker on there, go ahead and grab your old screen and move your new screen to the side. Alright, so now you can grab your iCopy. It just depends on your company policy if you guys do this or not, but so with iCopy, we're going to move the serial number from this screen to the new screen. And why do we do that? Well, it helps with like touch sensitivity, true tone, and then if you ever have like an update that has this screen serial number on it, you're gonna move it to this one because that can cause some update issues in your phone. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So open your iCopy. Pull it out of your box. I believe mine is dead, so I'm gonna plug it in here. Okay. So I have the 11, right? So if you come zoom down in here, we're going to plug in, it says display and touch, so we're going to plug in the 11. And it's going to be this bottom one right here. Alright, So go ahead and get that all plugged in. And then you're gonna mash read. It's gonna tell you it's reading. Alright, and so the read is done. Now you're gonna get your spudger and unplug it from the iCopy. And move your old screen to the side. And you're gonna get your new screen and plug in again. And press right. Okay. And you're going to unplug that. Then you can move your iCopy over. So now your new screen has the old screen serial number, and that won't cause any update issues, True Tone issues. Sometimes it can cause like touch problems. Alright, I'll give you a second to do that. Remember, you can pause the video as needed. So go ahead and grab your frame. Alright, once you've got your frame, grab your thumbs, and we're going to start plugging in our screen. So you should be set up like this. Alright, once you're set up like this, you can go ahead and plug in that ear speaker flex cable. And then you can plug in these two screen connectors. You have 1 and 2. Plug those in. Now we're working backwards from when we took it off. So the last thing we did was pull this shield off and unplug these. So we're going to plug them in and then put that shield on. So go ahead and grab your shield. Set it on there correctly. Then you're going to grab your tri-wing screwdriver and put those 5 screws back in.
Hey, Nicole's sister?
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I got 2 screws in. Put my other ones in. So you can go ahead and put your 5 screws in. Remember, you can pause the video as needed if I'm moving too fast for you, or if you're having a problem with your screwdriver, anything like that, just go ahead and pause. Alright, so now we are going to plug in our battery. So let's plug in our battery. If you look here, I'm just holding these flex cables up with my spudger. Plug in my battery. Now this phone does not turn on, and I'm sorry about that, but if you have to double check yourself. So what we do is we check it before we open the phone, and then we'll open the phone and then change our screen out. Before you put this shield on, you want to go ahead and plug in your flex cable in your flex cables for your screen, and your ear speaker, and then flip your screen down and make sure it would come on. But this phone doesn't work, and I'm sorry about that. So make sure you check yourself before repair, during repair, and after repair. So this is the time that you would check yourself to see, okay, do I have my flex cables plugged in? Is my screen defective? Now this phone won't cut on. It just won't cut on. And I'm sorry about that. But you want to go ahead and check yourself. So I'll give you time to check yourself, and go ahead and pause the video for that. Make sure your touch is working, your ear speaker, all that good stuff. Now I'm going to move ahead and go ahead and put my shield on for my battery. So my battery's plugged in, and I'm going to put my shield on. You always unplug your battery first and then plug it in last, okay? And remember, these are tri-wings, so go ahead and put those 3 screws in. You have 1, 2, and 3, one back there. So put your 3 screws in. And one of mine is a Phillips head. We probably lost the screw and put it in there. And we have the screw box. Most of the time the screw box, they give us Phillips head or tri-wing. Alright. Yeah, this phone doesn't cut on, and I'm sorry about that. Okay. So I'll give you time to plug in your battery and put your shield on and check your screen and all that. Alright, so how do you close this phone? Let's close the phone. So put your screen down, and then you're going to come right here. And you see those little clips right there? They're actually going to go into your frame. So we're going to push. If you see my hand, you see how my hand is? Let's zoom out so you can see how it is too. So I'm holding the frame, and I'm holding the phone, the screen, okay? And I'm coming like at an angle to get them up in there. And then I'm gonna hold this part, move my hands. Now I'm like this, okay? Move my hands and then bring down. And your phone should snap. Alright, and we'll do it again. Let me open this phone again. And then we will do it again, show you again. So you have your phone screen. You're gonna come at an angle, push, hold, and then come down. You should hear some snapping. Okay. So your screen's on. Give you a second to close that. Now that you've closed your phone, go ahead and put your pentalobe screws in with your pentalobe screwdriver. So go ahead and put those 2 screws in. And there you go. You have replaced an iPhone 11 screen, and we'll see you in the next video.